did we see enough from the Sixers to think that they have now figured out this Hawks team and can put this baby away? Plus, who starts for Danny Green? Who's the best option? I gave you the guy I think they'll start. I think it'll be Korkmaz. Right now, at 973 ESPN on Twitter, you can vote and tell us who you want to get that starting spot. Is it even that important? Does it matter who starts the game? Really not. I mean, it matters who finishes the game. Right now, 44% of you are going with Thibault. You want him to get the starting nine. Let's bring Mike McGarry in from the Press of Atlantic City, who's covering this series. And, of course, he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. We got a lot to dive into. Phillies had a positive weekend. There was some great baseball locally over the weekend. Mike is at a game today, so we'll get it all in with McGarry here. What's going on, Michael?
Hey, Mike, how are you? Yeah, I am up at Colts Neck right now, and I'll give you a little scoop. Ocean City up 2-0 in the bottom of the first of the State Group 3 semifinal.
There you go. I just had someone text me, can I get a live update? There you go. Mike McGarry, it's 2-0, Ocean City. I think Tom Finnegan pitching.
That is correct. He just took the mound. Colts Neck's leadoff hitter is up, so we're just underway up here in Colts Neck.
All right, so Mike's got that. 2-0 Ocean City. They lead it. All right. Danny Green hurt. Big deal or not a big deal? It feels like all the fans are almost like, thank God. And then I think they forget that the guy shot 40% from three, was a big floor spacer for this team. I think it's a bigger loss than the fans are giving him credit for.
Yeah, I would go like this. I would say not a big deal for this series. I think this might be a little bit of a bad matchup for this series. I don't think they need him offensively to sort of close this series out. But I would say going forward, it's a bigger deal than people are giving credit for, exactly for the reason that you just said. I think, against the Milwaukee Bucks or the Brooklyn Nets, they're going to miss him.
All right, so who's the best option to replace him, number one? Number two, who do you think Doc Rivers will go? He said he already knows, but he's not sharing it with you.
I think they got to go Korkmaz to continue to space the floor offensively and have that, corner perimeter shooting threat out there. I think they'll start Korkmaz, but I think they'll finish the game with Thibault in place there. So, kind of a hybrid mold there where you start the game with Korkmaz for the offensive reasons, provide spacing, make it easier on Embiid to do his thing, and then you close the game with the defensive Thibault.
Right. So Thibault, obviously, the defensive option. Korkmaz is the offensive option. Is Milton or Hill an option for you at all?
George Hill would have been an option for me, but he just has not played well in this series at all. So if he had played better, I would have said he would have been the guy to sort of take Green's place. But he just has not looked good in this series. So I continue to bring him off the bench with that second unit. And I think, in Korkmaz and Thibault, if you combine those two players and what they do well, the outside shooting and the defense, you get pretty close to what Danny Green gives you. So that's why I'd go with those two guys. And the fact that just George Hill has just not played well so far in this series. If he was playing well, I'd think about it. But the fact that he's not, I'd keep him on the bench.
All right, Friday night, that was a dominating performance. They almost took the heart right out of the chest of Atlanta. Now, Brooklyn was up 2-0. We thought that series was over. Did you see enough Friday night to think the Sixers have them figured out and that Atlanta doesn't have an adjustment to counter?
Yes, I did. I think if you look at it now, what are we at? We played 12 quarters of basketball, right? And the Sixers have dominated 10 of those quarters, maybe even 11 of those quarters. Other than the first quarter of Game 1, it's been all Sixers. So, you mentioned the Brooklyn Nets. That's a health situation there. James Harden out, Kyrie Irving out. If the Sixers stay healthy, I would think they would be able to roll in the series and wrap it up. Although I would expect, the Hawks to come out tonight and make, a spirited last stand, but I think the Sixers can weather it.
Yeah, now we know Doc has been up 3-1 3 times and coughed up 3-1 series lead 3 times. I don't imagine that would be the case here, but if they go up tonight 3-1, you would think that really shows you, to me, Mike, it kind of stamps that the Sixers are taking this like if they lose this game tonight, it's 2-2. And next thing you know, you've got this whole thing again kind of entering, hey, can Trae Young get going? Because they did not shoot the ball well Friday. They only made 6 threes. And you would think they have one more game left in them where they start bombing away from 3.
Yeah, I think they come out tonight all fired up, obviously sort of like a last stand type of thing. And kind of the way the Sixers began Game 2, right? So if Sixers can sort of weather that stand, stabilize the game, I just think the Sixers have too much scoring, too much firepower, and Atlanta has no answer for Embiid, who right now might be playing. Of all the guys in the NBA right now, guys left of the NBA playoff series, I don't think there's a guy playing better than Joel Embiid right now.
Yep, and we keep wondering, Mike, can a team win with a big guy as their main centerpiece? This is a three-point shooting league. This is a wing league. Can a team win a championship with the big man in 2021?
Well, in the Sixers case, I think yes, because, right, they're combining that big man with the perimeter shooting. That's why I think the loss of Danny Green going forward against Brooklyn and Milwaukee might be bigger than what the fans are giving him credit for. But they're kind of taking the best of both worlds. They're kind of taking, old-fashioned big guy basketball and the modern game and sort of combining it together. And I think, you look at around the NBA right now, right? LeBron James is out, the Brooklyn Nets are down to Kevin Durant. We don't know what is going to happen with Kyrie Irving or James Harden. The Milwaukee Bucks certainly don't look imposing. I mean, I like Utah. I think Phoenix is pretty good, but does anybody think the Sixers can't win a series against those teams? I mean, with the way Embiid is playing, the Sixers really have a real open window. This is a real opportunity to grab an NBA title here.
Yep, I agree that things that now, if Harden and Kyrie are done in this series, and I don't see how Harden is back, and I would be pretty surprised if we see Kyrie at least the next two games. Are the Nets done?
I don't know if they're done in this series. I'm not going to undersell, how good Kevin Durant is. I think, I said before, I think Joel Embiid might be playing the best of any player right now in the NBA playoffs. I think Kevin Durant is a 1A when you look at that. So maybe he can get them past the Bucks, but with the Sixers, if Brooklyn, however, doesn't have Harden or Kyrie Irving for a series against the Sixers, I think Brooklyn would be in trouble there. With two of those guys, I like Brooklyn. But just one, then I think the Sixers got the edge.
At AC Press McGarry, and he is live at the Ocean City baseball games. It's still 2-0, by the way, Mike?
Still 2-0, but I think the Cougars of Cold Snake have the bases loaded here, so we'll see what happens.
All right.
A long way to go so far.
All right, that's first inning. We'll get some more updates before the end of this conversation, but I do want to go to the Phillies this weekend. We were kind of leaving them for dead. They get a sweep over a team that's almost got more problems than they do in the Yankees, but did you get a feel this weekend, Mike, that the Phillies are about to kind of, we've been waiting. All right, are you going to go on a little winning streak here and make us believe, or are you going to kind of go on a losing streak here and kind of like get it, quit getting on the middle seesaw here? Give us one or the other. Are the Phillies about to turn things around?
I don't know, but if they didn't go on that winning streak, the 4 in a row, the 3 walk-ups, they'd certainly be in a lot of trouble. If they had lost 3 or 4 in a row and heading out to the West Coast trip that they've got against a very good Dodger team and a good Giant team. And the Phillies kind of, it sort of cracks me up a little bit the way local Philadelphia sports fans, talk about the Phillies. The way people talk about the Phillies, you think they were 10 games under 500 and buried in last place. I mean, they're a game over 500, which is not great, but they're in second place in the National League, 3 games back of the Mets. I think you look at the division, I don't think the Atlanta Braves are having the year that, we all thought they were going to have. Washington seems to have some trouble. They're chasing the Mets. I don't think the Mets are the 27 Yankees. So, I think Philadelphia is in relatively good shape. But when you talk to some Phillies fans, you think they were 10 under, or they give you the approach where the Phillies better be, in first place by 10 games when Eagles training camp starts, or I'm not going to pay attention to the Phillies anymore. So,
I think
they are what they are, basically.
Well, that's the problem, though. It's almost like I think people have acquiesced to this is the same team that we've seen the last 3 years where they just kind of hung around, but there's nothing to suggest they're going to rip off 12 out of 15 or 15 out of, 17 here. I mean, it just feels like you just keep giving me the same thing that I saw the last 3 years. You told me, right? You told me it was the manager. They changed the manager. That manager's in first place, and you're still stuck in the same spot.
Yeah, I think what their other issue is that there just doesn't seem to be a compelling storyline on the team. I mean, Zach Wheeler is having a great season, but I don't get the sense from the Philadelphia fan base that they're pumped up every 5th day when Wheeler takes them out. I don't hear anybody going around saying today's a Wheeler day and things like that. So, And then, hey, this is Bryce Harper's third season. JT Realmuto's been here a while. Both are having solid years, but both are being hurt. So there hasn't been a really compelling storyline to hook the fans' interest. But yet, I mean, they are a game over 500. They are 3 games back of the division lead. They're in contention right now. I think that they're worth paying attention to at this point. Now, whether they're going to go out and win 15 in a row, I just don't think they're that type of team. I think they're going to continue to be what they are, 2 steps up, 1 step back, and kind of in playoff contention to the end of the season. And we'll see if they can have a September, instead of a September collapse, a September where they play well.
All right, Mike McGarry from the Press of Atlantic City. He is at the Ocean City Colts net game. That's because Ocean City beat Mainland in, Mike, which was one of the most unbelievable baseball settings and scenes on Saturday afternoon. I guessed it. You've been covering baseball in this area for however long. Have you ever seen a crowd as big as that?
No, I haven't. 5 or 6 deep, along the right and left field line, student sections out in the outfields. We never see student sections in baseball games for the most part. So really just a fantastic atmosphere. And, I give credit to Ocean City. Gannon Brady, the starting pitcher, does a great job. They get him that 3-0 lead. And Gannon Brady's a guy who's pitched in big games since he was 12 years old. And you had a feeling that once Ocean City got up, Gannon was going to be able to get the Red Raiders home.
Yeah, and he actually had the double, too, that really broke that thing.
Right, 2-run double, right.
Yeah, he had the 2-run double. They won it 6-1 over Mainland to advance. It was, Mike, I mean, it was almost like a football game to some extent. I mean, both sides were just mobbed. I mean, all the way, the outfield fences were filled from almost center field all the way around. For both sides, it was like half red and half green. I mean, it was a scene, man. I was shocked at how many people ended up filling that place up. And for the most part, you had the 1 inning when Ocean City got 3 on the board, and Mainland just could not get anything going. But man, it was something, man. If you had not seen a high school baseball game before, a crowd like that, you might not see another one like that ever again.
Yeah, I don't know if you are, because, both these teams are kind of senior dominated and, have been in our, high school consciousness for 4 years. Ocean City has a lot of well-known athletes on the high school level with Gannon Brady, Joe Rapetti, Tom Finnegan, the pitcher, and, of course, Mainland with Chase Petty. He couldn't pitch that game. He played second base for the Mustangs. So both teams have built up big followings. And Mainland Ocean City, for where we are along the shore, I mean, that's the premier rivalry. It's a big deal when they meet in any sport. It's an even bigger deal when they meet for a championship. Yeah. So, and that was the case on Saturday. And I like what you said there. It kind of reminded you of a football crowd, because that's what I thought of when I saw the people sort of circling the outfield fence there. It's like people standing along the fence of a football game, basically. So you're exactly right. It was kind of like a football crowd type atmosphere.
It really was. It was cool to see. And, of course, Ocean City going on right now. So it was 2-0. You said the bases were loaded. Did they get out of that?
Yeah, they kind of got out of it. It's 2-1. Ocean City batting in the top of the second as we speak. So Ocean City up 2-1 coming to the plate here in the top of the second.
All right. Follow at AC Press McGarry. He is up at the game. People are saying, how can I get updates on this game? There you go. At AC Press McGarry. He is up there, Ocean City and Colts Neck in that Group 3 baseball game. And he, like all guests, appeared via the Boardwalk Honda hotline. All right, Mike, thanks, man.
All right, we'll talk to you on Wednesday. Thanks, Mike.
Yep, Mike will be back on Wednesday to recap the Sixers and the Hawks game number 4, and then, of course, the Phillies stuff out west as well. We always like to spin things around, and, of course, he's covering that big Ocean City game today.